Welcome to your Daily Writing Habit, episode number 775. If you are writing a book or thinking about it, or maybe you've started writing your book but you need some help getting it done, you are in the right place. Good morning. Happy Sunday, everyone. I'm your host, Christine Whitmarsh. If you're looking for me online, look for Christine Inc., like that stuff we write with. Each day, I'm sharing with you the writing habits I've learned over my 19 years as a ghostwriter, book coach, and author. I have found that three things in particular have a huge impact on your success as an author, and they can turn someone who doesn't even really see themselves as a writer into a published book author. Those three things are writing fundamentals, productivity, and mindset habits. And once again, good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday, as we do every Sunday here on the show. It is Sunday Story Time, where I grab a book off my shelf, whether it's one of my own books or a client book or just a book that's positively impacted me in some way. I read you an excerpt from that book and then give you some kind of learning question or some way to apply that excerpt to your world as an author. So without further ado, this week's book selection is a book definitely positively impacted me in some way, as in I really enjoy it. It is the classic bestseller Catch-22 by Joseph Heller. "You're wasting your time," Dr. Nika was forced to tell him. "Can't you ground someone who's crazy?" "Oh, sure, I have to. There's a rule saying I have to ground anyone who's crazy." "Then why don't you ground me? I'm crazy. Ask Clevenger." "Clevenger? Where is Clevenger? You find Clevenger and I'll ask him." "Then ask any of the others. They'll tell you how crazy I am." "They're crazy." "Then why don't you ground them?" "Why don't they ask me to ground them?" "Because they're crazy, that's why." "Of course they're crazy," Dr. Nika replied. "I just told you they're crazy, didn't I? And you can't let crazy people decide whether you're crazy or not, can you?" Yossarian looked at him soberly and tried another approach. "Is Orr crazy?" "He sure is," Dr. Nika said. "Can you ground him?" "I sure can, but first he has to ask me to. That's part of the rule." "Then why doesn't he ask you to?" "Because he's crazy," Dr. Nika said. "He has to be crazy to keep flying combat missions after all the close calls he's had. Sure, I can ground Orr, but first he has to ask me to." "That's all he has to do to be grounded?" "That's all. Let him ask me." Then you can ground him," Yossarian asked. "No, then I can't ground him." "You mean there's a catch?" "Sure there's a catch," Dr. Nika replied. Catch-22. Anyone who wants to get out of combat duty isn't really crazy. There was only one catch, and that was Catch-22, which specified that a concern for one's own safety in the face of dangers that were real and immediate was the process of a rational mind. Orr was crazy and could be grounded. All he had to do was ask. And as soon as he did, he would no longer be crazy and would have to fly more missions. Orr would be crazy to fly more missions and sane if he didn't. But if he was sane, he had to fly them. If he flew them, he was crazy and didn't have to. But if he didn't want to, he was sane and had to. Yossarian was moved very deeply by the absolute simplicity of this clause of Catch-22 and let out a respectful whistle. "That's some catch, that Catch-22, he observed. "It's the best there is," Dr. Nika agreed. Really great piece of classical literature, one of my favorites. Definitely recommend it. Catch-22 by Joseph Heller. And normally I would, as I said a couple minutes ago, I would normally apply some sort of learning question or apply it to your world in some way, but you're going to have to wait until tomorrow for that. So tune in for tomorrow's episode where I apply the excerpt that I just read today from Catch-22 to your world as an author. Thank you for joining me here on Your Daily Writing Habit, where I am helping you write and finish writing an awesome book. Until tomorrow, happy writing.